Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, here in a very hot and stuffy Ibiza.
And me, Richie Pye, here in Mallorca. Actually, a nice breeze here in Mallorca, to be honest, Mark.
That's just you talking, Richie, isn't it, normally? So,
no, it's just full of hot air, mate. Don't worry about that.
Boom, boom. It's a bit early for that. How are you, Rich?
I'm very well. How are you?
You're very good, mate. Very good. It's just starting to get a little bit busier.
Oh, a lot busier. I don't know about Ibiza, but Mallorca's very busy, very busy.
I think we've had a dip. I think we've just had a little dip. I think May was ridiculously busy because of the clubs opening, and I think we've just had a little dip in June. But you can just feel it. It's a bit of the cauldron is steaming, mate. That's all I'll say. The cauldron.
Well, I've been out and about today. I've been up to the beautiful village of Daya today.
Oh, lovely place, mate. What a lovely place.
Which is absolutely gorgeous for a bit of work. And then I was down in the port in Palma, right next to Roger Taylor's boat, actually, today.
Really? What, Roger Taylor from Queen or Roger Taylor from Duran Duran?
From Queen. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. The sailing boat, which is beautiful. So, so I've had quite an interesting day. And I hear you, it's funny. I hear you got stopped by somebody taking, not taking the mickey, sorry, who was liking our podcast, I hear. Well, I don't know where you were, but...
Oh, believe it or not, Rich, I was in O Beach the other day.
O Beach?
O Beach, yeah. And I got stopped 3 times by people who said to me... Well, I didn't think so, Rich, but they were all male, aged over about 40. So I suppose that is our demographic.
But what a shame.
But within about 10 minutes, 3 people said to me, I didn't know these people either, so it wasn't family or friends, and went, I really like your Talking Balearics podcast. And I was like, can I have a selfie with you, please? He said that.
You didn't sign anything as well?
No, nothing at all.
No, that's all right then. That's all right.
So this is Talking Balearics, Richard. I'll use a proper Sunday name. And what have you got for me?
What have I got? Actually, yes, wine. I'm going to talk about wine, actually, interestingly enough. You might wonder why, but apparently Spanish wine growers are not happy because of a new tax that the British government has levied upon them, and apparently they're struggling to sell their wine. And I'll tell you, of course, why. I'm also talking about. I just want to talk about. Over the last few days, I've been out and about doing different things, I think the island is really, really busy. I do, which I think is a good thing. I drove, as I say, I've driven through Day, I've driven through Valdemossa. So I want to sort of link that to what the tourismophobia as well, what we've been talking about.
You're obsessed by that, aren't you? Come on, let's just get it out there. Obsessed by tourismophobia.
I am. I know you're going to talk about San Juan, so I'll leave.
Yeah, well, it was just a bit of an informative piece, really, San Juan, because it's a lot of Brits don't know about it. So I was just going to inform. That was all.
And I'll update you on how the Radiothon went over the weekend as well.
Good.
Which is good. And also, yes, one other thing. There's a possible airport reopening up in the UK that could have positive, more people, but
interesting, yeah. More people into the tourismophobia. I like that, Exactly. That'll wind everyone up. So, Richie, I've got a little bit of information about a worrying trend here in Ibiza, which is live music and DJs seem to be getting stopped. I think that probably goes hand in hand with tourismophobia as well. So I think the authorities are getting a little bit more stricter, which I think has a knock-on effect. I've got a worrying trend because there seems to be a pyromaniac around, which I'll talk about that a little bit more. We mentioned San Juan, didn't we, as well? And a little bit about weather, because believe it or not, right, this is a great story. I said to one of the guys who stopped me in the O Beach the other day and I said, what would you like to hear on the Talking Balearics podcast? And he said, I'd like to hear more about the weather. And I went, really? He said, yes. I went, okay, we'll do that for you then, shall we? So a little bit about the weather.
Okay, well, it's hot, mate, and that's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. We're sweating buckets. Right, so, Rich, start me off then. So what have you got?
Spanish winemakers are concerned that exports to Britain, their main market for still wine, have fallen in value this year due to higher tariffs linked to alcohol content. Apparently, it's at a faster pace than those of their French and Italian counterparts. The impact on Spanish wines, especially reds, because they exceed 12.5% alcohol, which triggers a sharp hike in the levy, which Spanish winemakers said wines tend to have a higher alcohol content than their other European partners, as warmer weather produces a grape with more sugar. And during fermentation, this results in higher alcohol content, resulting in higher wine prices.
Okay.
And they're not happy.
I'm sure they're not. Have you got any winemakers in Mallorca, Rich?
Yeah, lots, mate. It's a big growing industry. Big growing industry. You know, Matthew Batlett. There's lots of what I would call sort of smaller wine growers as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
more.
I don't know if do you have the beer mark called the Rosa Blanca?
Yeah, you asked me that before. Yes, we do actually. I know I said no last time, but since then I found out that it's actually supplied in Mercadona, believe it or not.
Okay. Yeah. So Rosa Blanca is like a hoppy lager, and become very, very popular here. And I've noticed it back in the UK now, actually.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
We get quite a few craft beers over here, Rich, which I think is a real... So I think the actual wine and the alcohol industry is a real emerging market that we've got over here as well, which fits right in with what the Balearics wants, doesn't it, really? Because...
Well, yes, it does want diversity, of course.
Exactly. That's the word, diversity. They want to do that. But also, don't forget, if you've got the wine growing region, you can have tours there, you're going to be selling it, you're going to be promoting the island on different levels. So I think it works. I mean, in Ibiza, we've got Can Rich, which is really, it's in San Antonio as well, which is really popular, Can Rich. We've also got Hibiscus. I don't know if you have that over there, which is a beautiful rosé wine. We've got a few other places as well. So it really is an emerging market, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. And good wines. I mean, you know, whereas before maybe you wouldn't have entertained them, you know, when you look them on the menu, you normally go for, if you're red, you're looking at Rioja or Ribera del Duero.
Oh, yes.
And then, exactly.
Oh, yes.
So, but now, you know, I think they're more and more becoming more popular and a lot better.
Have you ever been in Spanish company? So you're the only kind of non-Spanish person at the table, and you've got all Spanish, and you order a non-Spanish wine. Have you ever seen the looks they give you?
Well, particularly, also as I say now, also because of Mallorquin wine as well. It's, you know, they look at you and go, well, you should be ordering a Mallorquin wine. Surely.
Absolutely, yeah. So. I mean, once we did like a little away day. I think we're in Dublin, and I had the audacity to order a Chilean wine, a Chile wine, and the Spanish refused to drink it. They point blank refused to drink it. They said, "Where have you got Rioja?" So the guy from the restaurant went and got his Rioja, and they were happy as Larry after that. So, you know, the Spanish are quite how could we say, focused in what they like.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. I wanted to touch also on something that when we're talking about diversity, and we know that potatoes are grown here. I don't know if they are in Mallorca, Ibiza, but Sa Pobla, or the area in and around Sa Pobla, is quite a big area. And they do import out to the UK particularly. But there are reports of reduced yields and potential price increases due to adverse weather conditions affecting the early potato harvest in Sa Pobla, which is a key producing area. Heavy rains and flooding have impacted the quality and quantity of the crop. This is obviously early season, and now we're hitting the dry side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Potentially leading to increased reliance on imports, apparently. So, you know, whilst we talk about trying to find diversity, if there's problems with those industries as well, then where are you going to rely? You've got to go back to tourism.
It's a classic Spanish case of gets caught up in the paperwork, doesn't it? You know, the administration and the paperwork you have to go through. You have to jump through hoops. Talking of jumping through hoops, Rich, can I just tell you a little story about? There's a bar there's a very famous beach bar down in Las Salinas called Sa Trinxa. Okay. And for years, they've had like Sunday sessions. They've had DJs there. Very famous DJ called Sa Trinxa, believe it or not. He liked it so much he took the name of the bar. It became one very famous for those kind of chill out Sunday sessions. And they've been told last week, I think it was, that they couldn't do any more DJ sessions because the bar is within the natural park. Las Salinas and Formentera make up a natural park here. A bit like your Cabrera's National Park over there, I think, isn't it, as well? So the actual bar sits within the national park. And to say the locals are unhappy is to put it mildly. Big petition started online. 6,000 names so far have been verified on there. The backlash is pretty intense, to be honest, Rich. Also, a friend of mine sent me a Facebook story, which you're never quite sure if the Facebook stories are true, but there was a guy on Benirras Beach, which is another kind of hippie hangout, very spiritual place up in the north of the island, Benirras, just very close to San Miguel. And a guy was playing guitar. The police came along and said no live music on the beach as well. So I think it's a clampdown, Rich. I think it goes hand in hand with the new era of the Balearics, where everything has to be kind of dotted and all the I's have to be dotted, the T's have to be crossed. The more spiritual locals who are used to kind of just being hanging out and having fun they're not happy, Rich, and I don't blame them really. I mean, it does seem to be one law for one law for someone else. So one bar will be able to do something, and another bar won't be able to do something as well. So Benny Rass, there's a little bit of drama about the live music there as well. So I don't think it's a great move in the right direction, but I think it's the new Ibiza where they want everything contained in certain areas. They want it all boxed off. Universe, they're happy to have 10,000 people in Universe, but they don't want the open spaces and the beaches taken over by the hippies or the people just playing music. So not great, really.
It'd be interesting to hear how that turns out then.
Yeah, it's just
the Spanish behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's another example, Rich, of the free spirit of the island, which was famous for the free spirit. They're just eroding that bit by bit.
I don't know if you remember there used to be an airport in the heart of Kent, which obviously Kent is known as the Garden of England.
Yeah,
there used to be an airport there. I don't know if you can remember the name of the airport.
Was it Farnborough? No, it wouldn't be Farnborough, would it?
No, Farnborough's Hampshire, I think, isn't it?
It was. There was. What's it called? I know it because there was. Isn't it where they did the private flights from? Isn't it? What is it? Biggin Hill?
No, not Biggin Hill. No,
right,
that's north of London. It's Manston Airport.
Manston Airport, yeah, okay,
Manston, yeah. Manston. So I used to live in Kent actually back in the day. Yeah, my red coating days, you know.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, yes, he was. Manston could be reopening, apparently. 2028 is the year.
Okay.
And, you'll remember Aspro Holidays, Mark, back in the day, I'm sure. Yeah. Got taken over by Air Tours, I think, if I'm right in saying that.
Possibly.
I can't remember. Manston Airport is looking to reopen. They're looking at 2028, so it's a little bit far off, but it will add, quite a significant number of people, particularly to Mallorca. Apparently, they look in other areas such as Cyprus, I think was mentioned, and mainland Spain, of course, as well. But it's an interesting because I think I'm right in saying, is it Doncaster Airport?
Doncaster, yeah,
that was closed by TUI, I think, because TUI used to fly out of there.
Coventry Airport as well, Rich. That they were open for a while, did a lot of flights. I think TUI actually owned it, or Thomson owned Coventry Airport, and then I think they lost the right, that closed as well. So these small airports, they're looking to reduce the airport fees. It's as simple as that, aren't they?
Oh, totally, yeah. Because EasyJet now fly out of Southend, actually, to be honest. Which is, you're right. They're sort of trying to get away from the big airports. So that's something that will, obviously please the tourismophobia people if more people are coming.
Yeah, more people coming in. I like that. Well, just looking at it, Rich, just quickly. I wasn't expecting, but I saw that KLM were flying from Manston to Amsterdam up until 2013, which is interesting as well.
Okay.
I wonder who it's owned by. This will be interesting to see who it's owned by, because if it's an owner operator, and they will look to put their own flights in there. So if anyone knows who it's owned by, who's listening to that, please comment as well. But more tourists, mate, it's exactly what we need, isn't it, Rich? More tourists.
That'll cheer them all up.
Hey, will it ever? We think we might have a pyromaniac on the loose in Ibiza, Rich. I mean, in the last week alone, the last 10 days, there's been 3 big fires in Ibiza. One was in Playa Bossa, which was a really bad fire, of which 2 homeless people have been arrested for it. They were arrested when they were trying to get away on the ferry. There was one in the airport last week where one of the big people carriers burst into flames, and it caused mayhem, as you would imagine, in the airport. And I saw yesterday there was a big fire in Sant'Eulalia, in a restaurant down near the marina as well. So quite a worrying trend. I mean, I know that we're crazy because everything's so dry over here. There's no water around us, or no moisture, so you've got to really be careful in the countryside. You can't leave cigarette butts as well. But these are 3 urban places which have caught alight in the last 10 days. So quite a worrying situation. I haven't got any more information on the fire from the airport and Sant'Eulalia, but as I said, 2 people were arrested for the fire in Playa Bossa. And it's very sad, because I actually know somebody who lived on the first floor, and directly above the fire, they set fire to the restaurant below. I think there was a dispute between a couple of homeless people and the restaurant. The restaurant kicked them out or kind of shooed them away, and they came back the night, and they were caught on video setting fire to it. So tough time for these people as well, and not great for Ibiza.
No, exactly. And I think the other side of this is obviously the human loss, if there is a human loss, obviously there quite possibly could be in this, but not only to human loss, but damage to property, but also that you're taking, fire crews and police and possibly ambulance people away from, possibly more serious things. Do you know what I mean? Because people say, it's their data, lock them up, mate. As well.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, but I just think it's an example of the fractious, you've got the have and have nots, haven't you? So you've got the homeless setting fire there. The restaurant looks like it was arson as well. Who knows what happened in the airport? It just, it's that whole fractious world that we're living in. I mean, it's never used to happen, Rich, but at the moment, it just seems to be happening a little bit too often.
Yeah. Now then, on the good news front,
let's have some positivity, mate. Come on.
The Magaluf promenade has officially been opened by the mayor this week.
Yeah.
And I'm hopefully going to interview the mayor actually shortly on the radio very shortly. That's the mayor of Calvia, by the way.
Good.
The one half of the project's finished. The other half will be finished next winter or this coming winter. And it's a big transformation. And I don't get out much these days, but I'm not a party man like you. But I did go out a couple of weeks ago and I wandered along the promenade of Magaluf Beach and pleasantly surprised with how there are many sort of great restaurants, beach bars, cafes, all the way along the front. You can't look at anyone and go, that doesn't really fit here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They all fit. They've all got their own little niche of what they do, and everybody was really busy. Yeah. And I did notice that also the sort of the age group of people is slightly higher. Normally around this time of year you start to get the students out finishing university, etc., and everything else. And I don't notice that so much. And I'm hearing also on the Punta Bayonet, it's a lot quieter than it ever has been before. So the government's sort of policy of trying to change Magaluf as a resort, I think it's working.
It's working. Yeah, no, for sure.
From a positive point of view, you can see by the type of people, the restaurants and everything else that, there's money being brought into the resort, which can only be a good thing. And as I say, today, I was up in Daya and Valdemossa today, and I thought to myself, I can understand people being a bit, peed off is probably not the right word, but you know what I mean, with the amount of people that come. But all the restaurant owners in those areas and all the cafes, they were really busy. Do you know what I mean? And you thought, good on you. Do you know what I mean? Because it only happens in the summer. You don't see that in the wintertime. I just
think if you change the mindset, Richard, we've seen it in San Antonio, and with the West End, it's been painted, the floor, and they've got this really good art thing happening in the West End. A guy called Acuda San Miguel. We've talked about it in previous weeks, and I walked up the other week, and it just. The mindset seems to have changed. There's tourists there taking photos. There's people sitting outside drinking coffee. There's a boutique there. Whereas before it was all fast food restaurants and pints of lager. I mean, it still is as well, by the way. Don't get me wrong. Nothing's going to change overnight, but it's now mixing up with other boutiques and, as I say, coffee bars. It seems to be more open, Rich, just more open space. And I think the positivity about changing the mindset of Calvia, of Magaluf, of San Antonio, of the West End, I think it's working.
I agree totally. And I think that's a positive. For me, that's a positive. And long may it continue.
Talking of positivity, San Juan. Now, should we do our kind of skit on San Juan? Because I don't think the English understand San Juan, do they? So how would you describe San Juan?
Were you out there cleansing yourself last night?
It's a bit too late in the day for that, Rich. I'm afraid. They've got the voodoo dolls out kind of sticking pins in me these days, Rich. But so how would you describe it? So if I was somebody who didn't, a tourist who didn't understand San Juan, how would you describe it, Rich? Go on.
Well, it's funny actually, because I was doing my radiothon on the weekend, Friday and Saturday, and one of the guys that came in said to me, I understand why you've done it this weekend, because it's midsummer and it's the longest day and everything. And I looked at him, I went, is it? I didn't actually know. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Because today, Tuesday, this is the day, obviously, we normally record. Today, Tuesday, is Midsummer's Day today.
It is,
basically. Is, So, but everybody last night was celebrating San Juan. Well, San Juan is where, I think particularly the Spanish love it, don't they? You know what I mean? I mean, the beaches were full last night of people just sort of generally having, I think you like to see it. I don't have any problem with it. Do you know what I mean? I think you like to see it. You know, they all take drinks and food down there, and you know, I think is it at 12 o'clock that you wander out into the sea and cleanse yourself for the coming year.
Cleanse yourself.
All dressed in white.
I mean, it's firework. It's basically firework night, isn't it? The fireworks.
Firework night.
Well, it's a Spanish version of firework night. I always think they just set fireworks off. You know, there's a big festival in Mallorca. I know that we had a big party in San Rafael, which is part of San Antonio. So I just think it's a really good Spanish tradition. And the Mallorca one's quite interesting because they do a horse festival, don't they, where the horses are jumping around. It's very famous, San Juan. So I think out of all the Balearic Islands, I think Mallorca. I mean, we don't often give Mallorca a shout, do we? Let's face it. But
we should get Simon on one day, man.
We'll get
Simon.
We'll get Simon on. But Mallorca, I think they do San Juan really well, and Mallorca, if you've been there, it's one of those classic old school Spanish places where lovely and quiet, very cultural, and I think they do it very well. So I didn't really hear anything. I was in bed early last night. Well, 3 a.m. Is that early for you, Rich? I don't know. So,
mate, I was asleep by 10. Breakfast show, you know, you've got to be up, mate.
Of course. What time do you get up in the morning?
5:30.
Oh, God, that's late, mate. God almighty. It's a lie-in, that is for me. But, Rich, before I go, listen, I saw something on the TV. I sent you a picture about it today.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm lucky enough to be going to Wimbledon next week, Rich.
Mate, come on. Where do you get all these invites? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
it's unbelievable.
It's a nice invite. I'm going to Wimbledon on the Wednesday and I'm going to the test match on the Thursday. So two delightful invites. But so I was watching the tennis today. Then I saw a tournament pop up. And it had Mallorca all over it, and it had Calvi there as well. So, are you doing like pre-Wimbledon tournaments in Mallorca these days?
Yeah, it's been going.
I never knew this.
It's been going quite a long time, actually, Mark. There used to be a women's tournament, actually, and for the last, I can't remember. I think it's about the last 3 years. It's been a man's tournament, and it's an ATP tournament. It's it's an official tournament. It's on grass. They brought over the guy that actually manages with the Wimbledon grass. They brought him in to manage the grass for them, it's very popular. I mean, the problem with it is because obviously we're in June and it's very, very hot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you can't get away from it being very, very hot. It is. So I think you commented that
it didn't seem to be anybody there, which is really disappointing because in the Balearics we're trying to diversify into a sporting venue, and you've got this top tennis tournament and nobody in the crowd apart from Jurgen.
Jurgen was there yesterday. Jurgen Klopp. He literally lives just down the road from there. Well, Jurgen is building, and weirdly enough, he's Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, so he's building a paddle centre at the Mallorca Country Club, which is where that tournament is.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of paddle, and he's building some courts there, which is great. And I had heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I had heard he was also building an old English pub as well.
That probably surprised me. Yeah,
apparently he misses his pubs.
Do you know what I loved about it?
Fantastic if he does.
Did you see that he was wearing a Germany football top as well, which I love that, didn't I? You know, you've got like this 55-year-old man in a football top, and I thought that was great, mate. He really was. He was one of the boys yesterday, wasn't he? Sorry, mate. Why wasn't there anyone in the crowd? That's what I want to know.
I think it's because what happens, Mark, is they normally put the highlight game on around about 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and they normally start around about, I think it's about midday.
Right,
midday to it's like
too
midday.
Hot, mate. It's too hot.
It's too hot, and they haven't really got too much shade over there, really, to be honest with you. But 6 or 7 at night to watch tennis actually is really nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sun's starting to go down, and they've got some good players. I'm just running through the list to see who. Tomic is there from Australia. They were supposed to. I tell you what they're supposed to have, and obviously I realised this morning because I heard him on TalkSport. Kyriakos was supposed to be there, supposed to be playing, but he's obviously not coming over because he's got other things going on. I'm just trying to remember who won it last year. For the life of me, I can't remember, but he was quite a high-ranked player.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good, mate. But as I said, I was just disappointed. But he looked really great, and obviously Queen's tournament's on this week as well. So it's all roads lead to Wimbledon.
Yeah, they're all that's it. They're all competing against each other. That's the problem with it. Do you know what I mean? So I've seen quite a few players down there. Rafa Nadal's been down there. I've actually played on there, Mike. If you want, yeah. We played a charity game on there a few years ago. So
did you win?
Mark, come on. I'm not a bad tennis player.
Was it a double donut? Was it a double donut, Richie? And I'm not talking about what you ate in the bar after.
No, you won't be surprised. It was a burger actually I ate in the bar after. To be perfectly honest,
funny that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true actually. It was for charity. It was a charity match, and
this is a good segue, mate. A good segue because how much did you raise? Sorry, should I say? How much did you raise at the weekend on your radiothon? Yeah,
thank you for that. So, up to now, or up to the point that we finished on Saturday, it was 10,800 and something or other.
Amazing.
But obviously, we're still. Well, we closed the auction today on the breakfast show this morning, which is Tuesday morning. Closed the breakfast show, and we're still out there selling raffle tickets. We don't actually draw the raffle till next Monday, because that gives us a bit of time to get everything organised. Otherwise, doing it all at the same time just gets too much.
So you're looking maybe hopefully 12 grand, hopefully at the end of it?
Yeah, 12, possibly touch 13, hopefully, if we can.
Amazing.
If we can get out there. So which is great. We've
congrats.
From the charity point of view, I'm really happy for the charity.
But you're a brand new station. You're a brand new station, Rich, as well.
Yeah, we've only been open 4 months, so
So you are really good.
It's been pretty good.
Congratulations to everybody who was involved. I was listening, as you said, and thanks for the plug, by the way, when I was listening for that hour.
No problem.
Thanks for the plug.
Listen, I have to say, and I think it's true in Ibiza as well, but the generosity of people that live here is always. It doesn't surprise me. That's probably wrong because I've been here so long, but I am sort of humbled by what people will give and everything else to help these charities. Because I'd said it on the radio. I said, look, we're a messenger. Do you know what I mean? We're just passing the message on that we want to raise as much money as we can for these charities. It's the charities themselves that are doing the work. Yeah. And it's the listeners that are helping us raise the money. So
you reminded me, I've got a charity story, but we've overrun this week, mate. So I'm going to save it for next week. But remind me for my charity story next week, Rich.
No problem.
Pleasure as always. Congratulations again to you and your team on your radiothon. Fantastic work,
mate.
And I look forward to speaking to you next week.
All right, take care, Mark. See you next week.
Thanks, Rich.
Cheers, mate.
Make me dance.